Now, how do you know whether a deal is a good deal or not? So there's three things that you want to do when you're buying a house. There's three things you want to look for. Would you like to know what they are? If you would, give me a thumbs up. Okay, we're going to be finding houses today. These are the three things. And this is possibly the most technical part of the crash course. So get ready to listen fully, take good notes, because this is a little bit facts and formulas and figures, and you need to learn these. I failed in school, but believe me, I learned these formulas and it changed my life. So the three things, these are the three golden rules. Number one is if you're buying a property, you want to buy it below market value. This is BMV. You never pay the full asking price on a house. Below market value. Now, later on, we're going to talk about how to do that, how to negotiate, how to know if a property, what the true market value is of a property. But that's the first golden rule. Number two, you want to make sure that when you buy a property, you have a good return on investment. These are all the jargon terms that you'll hear, and you need to learn what they are. So if an investor says to you, would you be able to find me a good BMV deal with a high ROI? You're like, yeah, of course. You're speaking my language. Whereas maybe previously you would have been like a BM what? All right. So next, a BMV deal below market value with good ROI. What does ROI mean? ROI means the money that you're putting into the deal, it needs to give you a good cash on cash return. And I'm going to show you shortly how to calculate and how to work out the return on investment the smart way, because a lot of people do this wrong, and you need to master these calculations. And then the last thing that you need is ECA, and ECA stands for expected capital appreciation. Let me tell you something. If you can find properties that tick all of these boxes, they're below market value, they're good return on investment, and there's expected capital appreciation in the area, you will succeed in this business. And what I want to show you today is I want to show you exactly like everywhere how to do this, how to find these deals, and how to be able to calculate these formulas if that's okay with you. Is that okay? All right, good. So write that down, BMV. So BMV, how do you get a deal below market value? What do you do? Well, first thing is this. When you ring up an estate agent, what most people do is they'll go and view 100 houses and they'll just offer on everything. You know, that's stupid. You don't want to do that. When you ring up an estate agent, you want to tell them that you're looking for properties that are below market value up front. Hey, I'm looking for property deals. I'm looking for deals. I'm very serious. I'm so serious, I even went through the Samuel Leeds Property Investors Crash Course. And I'm looking to buy a property, and I'm looking to buy something below market value as I am an investor. Do you have any deals or any motivated sellers? And a lot of them are going to go, no, we don't. Get out of here. No, all right, fine. But I'd rather get rejected on the phone than do what most people do. What most people do is they'll book a viewing, they'll go and look around the house, they'll spend half an hour talking to the agent about the weather, and then they'll go home, and then they'll call the agent, and then they'll put forward 20% below market value offer, and then the estate agent's like, thanks for wasting my time. And then you've wasted your time, their time. It's a terrible approach. You're better off to be upfront right from the beginning. Next thing as well, if you find a property online, okay, you can ring up and you can just say, hey, I've seen a property. It's on the market for £100,000 on Church Road. And they'll say, yes, how can I help you? You'll say, look, to be honest, I'm only likely going to be able to offer like about £90,000. I don't want to offend anybody, but is it worth me booking a viewing or not? And if they say, no, it's not worth booking a viewing, they'll never accept that, then don't book a viewing. Go, all right, no worries. Thanks for your time. Have you got any other properties where they might be a bit more motivated? It's not a difficult phone conversation to have. You're going to be having those types of calls today, by the way. Okay. And the people that win today are going to be the people that take the most action. Like when I give you guys a working exercise, it is not a friggin' break. Okay. It is a working exercise. If I say, right, I've got 20 minutes and I want to go and phone these people, go. Don't think, oh, well, I get the principle, I get the gist. I'll phone them next week, but now I'll just reflect on the lesson that Samuel gave me. No. There are observers and there are participators. How many of you are committed and ready to be a participator? Give me a thumbs up. Right. Return on investment. How do you get a good return on investment? Well, firstly, let me show you how to calculate the return on investment first. What's the average house price in the UK? Someone write it down and show me the average house price. Because you need to be able to calculate these things really well. Someone said, Lewis said 160 grand. Adris said 200 grand. A few people are saying 200 grand, 240. It's actually around about 240. However, let's just to keep the math simple, let's say that we find a house for 200 grand. Right? And let's say we're going to rent the house out. What's the average rent for a 200 grand house? Nice little 2-bed house. Someone write it down. Someone's saying $1,000. Someone's saying 750. 900. All right, so right now the average rent for a 200 grand house probably going to be about £800 per month. So how do you work out what the return on investment is on that house? You know, if you're buying a house for 200 grand and you're renting it out for £800 a month, what's the return on investment? So here's how you work out the return on investment. This is the formula, and you might want to write this down. So firstly, this is the formula. You need to take the annual profit divided by the total investment times 100. Annual profit divided by the total investment times 100 is equal to the ROI. That's the formula. So if we know that, then we can move to the next stage. So the return, and by the way, if you're wanting to sell, some of you might be thinking, but Samuel, I just want to sell deals. I just want to get free houses. No, unless you know exactly how to calculate the return on investment, no one will ever buy a deal from you. Because when the first thing you're going to need to say to an investor is to say, I found this house. It's a really good house. The return on investment works out about 10%, and it's also 20% below market value. If you don't know how to calculate the market value and the return on investment, you're done. You're finished. So this is really important that you get this. This is not theoretical. This is practical, and you need it. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you understand. Good, thank you. So the annual profit divided by the total investment. And what's the total investment? The total investment is the total cash investment that's needed. So let's work out how to work out what this is. So if you're buying a house for 200 grand, is it going to cost you £200,000 cash to buy the house? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Or yes or no? No, it's not. Because you're not going to buy the house for cash. You're going to get a mortgage on the house. So you're going to put down a deposit. And the deposit is going to be about 25%. Okay? Actually, that's right. 50 grand. So the deposit is going to be about 50 grand. So 50 grand is part of your total investment. However, is your deposit the only thing that you're going to need in order to buy a house? Yes or no? No, it's not. What else are you going to need? You're going to need probably stamp duty. You're going to need fees. That's right. What fees? Well, you're going to need, basically it's tax and legal fees. Stamp duty is a tax. And then legal fees, you're going to have to pay a solicitor. probably about maybe £1,000. Plus, you're going to have to potentially pay a few £100s to a mortgage broker if you've got a broker. So there's a few costs. So what we're going to say is we're going to say this. We're going to say that the deposit is 25%, but we're going to add another 4% for tax and legal fees. Now, just to be really, really clear, this will vary from house to house. Stamp duty, it works on a sliding scale, depending on the house, depending on if you're a first-time buyer, a second-time buyer, if you're buying through a company. There are things that you can do to bring stamp duty down, but just for simplicity, as a rule of thumb, we're going to say 4% for your tax and legal fees. Does that sound reasonable? Give me a yes or a no. All right, great. And as I say, it can vary massively. It could be 5%. It could be 2%, but 4% is about average, okay? So that's going to mean deposit is 50 grand. 4%, what's 4% of 200 grand? £8,000. Hassan, thank you. So you're also going to need £8,000. So your total investment is going to be £58,000 to buy a £200,000 house. And that's 25 plus 4% minus the 200,000. So another way to work this out would be like this. You could just say 29% of the total property. So you could go like this. You could go. So the property investment is 200 grand. And you could just go times 0.29, 29%. That's 58 grand. That's how you could work it out. Or you could even go 200 grand times 30. No, not 31. Is it 61? Yeah. See, you don't need to be smart, by the way, or good at maths to be really rich. Okay, I use a calculator. At school, they'll tell you not to use a calculator. It's cheating. I'm like, always use a calculator. At school, they'll tell you not to copy the kid next to you. That's cheating. In business, we'll say, find someone more successful than you and copy the heck out of them. So 200 grand times 0.29, 58 grand. That's how you can work it out. So that's the total investment. Is everyone clear on how to work out the total investment? If you are, give me a thumbs up.